I know you're listening. You're here because something isn't right. Something feels twisted, upside down. Things don't add up. Hello, human. Welcome to our twisted universe. Welcome back for part 2 of our talk with Marguerite Anderson about the Schumann Resonance, what it is, its impact on our spiritual selves, and influences on our energy. Back again, our Twisted Universe host Christy and our illustrious co-host Bob from Exit the Matrix on Facebook.
This channel by visiting asaricrystals.com. Asari crystals are precision cut by Paul Jensen. He uses Marcel Vogel's technique to amplify the crystal. Asari crystals are tools for evolution. They're created for healers and psychics. These are powerful tools that can assist with spiritual growth and protection. Thank you for your support.
Everybody will be in their spirit body, like a renewed body. And it also reminds me of what the Hindu Vedas teach. The next Yuga cycle is kind of like the golden age, that the 1,000 years golden age in the Bible is very similar to that Yuga cycle. Yeah. So yeah, definitely it's kind of, that goes across multiple belief systems, and whether you're looking at it from a religious or a spiritual point of view. Very interesting.
Yeah. When you deal with mystics or people who are into the mysteries, who are more into experiencing spiritual things than believing in a system or rules and regulations or the frame structure, we're all very similar, no matter what religious system we may identify with. Like the Sufis, the Sufis in the Muslim tradition, they are just like the so-called Christian mystics. They have the same experiences. They come into a place of euphoria and ecstasy, and they come in touch with what they call the void, and they go through releasing things and being purified. And this is in all the different religions. These same things are there. And so spirituality is different than getting married to a system. Yeah. And it seems that, and right now people are that we don't trust government as a rule. We don't trust structures. We don't trust religious organizations, organized religion. We don't trust much when it comes to large organization. And this all seems to be a part of our evolving or our ascending, is everyone is coming into a place where they either move forward with what's happening or we don't. And the old saying, some of those might get left behind to get to try this all over again. So to be in a place of love, though, is to be free. And free of fear.
Yeah, totally fascinating. I mean, I agree 100% with you. My page, Exit the Matrix. I mean, I name organized religion as one of the, the pillars of the Matrix. Of course, government. And there's, definitely, I think the metaverse and all this push to try to get people to eventually upload their consciousness into computer systems and run by AI. To me, that's almost like trapping your soul or your consciousness even more. It's almost like there's a part of our society, the controllers, world controllers, whatever you want to call them, without going into specifics, but it's almost like they're trying to hold back human consciousness and ascension and trap that consciousness, while the rest of us want to be free of their controls and move on.
Yes. Are you familiar with Greg Braden, the geologist?
No, I haven't heard.
I really enjoy him. He's he's on Gaia a lot. He is on YouTube a lot. He's a geologist, but also a new age type thinker. And I really don't think we can categorize him exactly. But do you know what I'm talking about when I say Greg Braden? Christy, do you know who he is?
I don't know. He sounds fascinating,
well,
but you're not.
He in the head, yeah. He in the head of an amazing New Thought campus. I won't name everything, but they talked openly about how a lot of what's happening in our governments and everything are directly related to off-world agendas. For them to say that was astounding, because this is a level-headed guy who is a scientist and highly respected. And why I bring this up is talking about the AI and giving over our humanity to being turned into more machine than human. Greg Braden says the so-called junk DNA that is in us is not junk, that it was disconnected during what's called the fall, or where we forgot who we were, or when something was stolen from us. And as we move forward, we need to explore that and see our true potential instead of giving it away, because he says what is not used will dissipate and disappear. So if the body sees that we're using a machine to do what it's meant to do, we will find our biological genius bodies degrading and giving in, and we never will see our true potential as humans. And that's pretty fascinating to me.
Yeah.
And
you were touching on I love talking to you. I don't know if you follow much of the ancient astronaut stuff. But the Anunnaki, that's one of the things that's talked about, is that they actually genetically shortened our lives, and they also they disconnected basically one of our strands of DNA. Instead of a double helix, we're supposed to have a triple helix DNA structure. And that, if you look at like the Old Testament, Book of Enoch, all those old texts, the people lived a lot longer. Even Noah was like 800 and some years old, and then the lifespans of people got shortened, and then it's almost like the intelligence got cut down, the abilities that people had got cut down, and that DNA got there's actually scientific proof that our telomeres were fused together, so there is definite proof that somewhere in the ancient past human beings were genetically modified, and we were limited, and we lost a lot of our abilities that we had.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the things I learned once again from Grant Braden. He talks about how we were fused in where the chromosomes and the genes, they can actually see where the fusion took place and tell you when it happened, and they can see it clearly. And it's just amazing. It's truly amazing. All of it. It's just so huge. It's so gigantic. And what may have been stolen from us, it's like all of these, like you talk about the Anunnaki and all the different groups, they all acknowledge the main creator, God, who is massive above all. Mm-hmm. And according to what we're hearing, he, or that God, can't say he, she, much bigger than that, but it's hard to say it for me. It seems so impersonal. But Creator God is coming to rescue us finally, and to reincorporate and put us back to where we were truly meant to be before the stealing of our DNA occurred, before we were diminished, where we were more godlike before. And I find it exciting. Very
Well,
exciting.
we were meant to be co-creators with the source, with that creator of all.
Yeah.
And what these other
Yeah.
beings did was they basically used our own creative abilities to harness and build what they wanted to build, you know. Yeah, I mean that's yeah, it doesn't matter if you're talking about the archons of the Nag Hammadi, the Gnostic texts, or the fallen angels of the Bible, or the jinn of the Quran, or you know, the gods of the Vedas. I mean, yeah, just like you said, it's in all these ancient things, there's the same stories run through them all, you know.
Relation. Absolutely.
Exactly. In the fall of man, the limiting of us was one of those major strings that runs through all those stories.
I
Yes.
see
You know,
source energy in us. I feel that we can create and we are more than what we believe we are. I just think that
yes.
it's been erased. And yeah, they may have altered us, but we still have it to a large degree. And the older I'm getting, the more I'm understanding how much has been taken from us. I don't know if you guys have experienced that, but I feel like I've been cheated of the knowledge of all the power I'm capable of. And I've seen, like you, many supernatural things, many that are absolutely unbelievable. And a lot of times humans are the ones that are facilitating that. And so they're tapping into creator and they're doing enormous big things with energy and controlling the darkness, all kinds of different things like that. And so I would say to everybody, trust yourself and look into yourself because you are part of the creator for sure. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. We are so much more
Yes.
than we've been led to believe.
Yes. And we're so much more loved than we ever imagined. That was the big, was to believe that we were not loved by the creator, and therefore the separation came when we were meant to be one.
Absolutely.
With and with one another. We were never supposed to operate separate or lose anything. And we're to that place now more than ever. This may sound silly, but we were talking on my Schumann page, the old one I had before it disappeared, about the upgrades we're receiving. One night, I was cooking cornbread in a big old cast iron skillet. The oven was 450 degrees, okay? And I went to pick up that big old skillet and I'd put a can of corn in it also, so it was extra heavy. And I had been working that day really hard physically, and I went to pick it up and I didn't have the strength to do it. I was taking it out of the oven directly, and I was like, oh, what am I going to do? It began to fall out of my hand, and it would hit the glass on the front of the oven, and it would have been a disaster. So what did I do? I made a choice. I took my left hand and I took hold, like let the skillet lean against my right hand, my left hand heavily, long enough to put it up onto the stove. Well, a young man who's like my son, his name is Dustin. He's a restaurant manager and deals with a lot of cooking. He said, Marguerite, that should have cooked you to the bone, 450 degrees. And the period of time, it seared my hand from here to here. And it hurt, but not nearly as much as it should have. And I called out when I did it. I called out on my oneness with my God, the one I know who made me and who loves me. And it's more of a love affair with me. It's not a religion. It's a love affair. And I called out and I ran it underwater and I put some oil on it. But a burn like that, it never blistered. I went to bed holding a bag of peas, frozen peas in my hand because it was hurting a little. I woke up at 1 a.m. There was no pain. And I put the can away or the bag away. And it looked like a mosaic on my hand, like crusted, broken mosaic. very, very surface. And I want you to know there was no pain the next day. And the next day, there was no sign of it. That's impossible. It's impossible.
It's remarkable.
And then I turned around, dinging me. I am dingy. I got that artist thing, you know. my right side of my brain sometimes totally takes over and is impractical. I decided I was going to wash off the top of my wood stove downstairs. And it's an old-fashioned Mom freestanding with the hood. And I had a damp washcloth in my hand and it had a fire going in it. And I went to wipe it off real quick. Well, steam happened and I burned my hand. And I'm like, oh my word. And I'm like, Marguerite, what are you doing? And it should have blistered, but I did the same thing. I focused on my oneness with the one that I love and the one who loves me. It never turned in anything. And it never even, well, within 2 hours, it wasn't even red. And that was like a day after. It's like, you know, it's proof to me, my ignorance. But mercy covered me. And I'm seeing lots of things like this. And a lot of people are reporting things like this. We are being upgraded. We are being activated. That junk DNA is coming into action. And it's kind of uncomfortable to go through. Let me see if I can find that. I'll read you some of the symptoms that go with the Schumann symptoms, which this is something that one of the reasons we hang out on my Schumann page is because you might think you're crazy, or you might think you got, you know, like the doctor might tell you you're imagining it or whatever, or they don't know what to do with you. You may have autoimmune diseases and nobody can get a handle on what to do about it. So when we get together, there's a big blast on the Schumann Resonance, and I'll write down and I'll put a little article and I say, you know, I was tingling all over, but not only that, my body was buzzing in a high vibration, especially my legs. And other people will kick in and they'll say, that happened to me. I was having the vibration, but it was in my arm, you know, and then everybody has a headache one day because of the frequencies. And we see that we're not crazy. We're all responding in our own way to these accelerated and heightened frequencies. May I read you a list of the symptoms?
Sure.
You ready?
Yep.
Okay. Number 1, disrupted sleep patterns. 2, tiredness and increased need for sleep. 3, elation and mild euphoria. 4, cloudy thinking or fog, brain fog. 5, headaches. 6, lack of hunger or increased hunger. 7, unsettledness or anxiety. 8, dizziness and clumsiness. I mean, some of my friends will just fall over out in the middle, you know, and we'll look and find that a huge spike just happened at that very time. We are super sensitive. Yeah. Unexplained flashes of light. Dreams, enhanced daydreams, numbness and tingling, hot and cold flashes, unusual insights and epiphanies, strong desire to be alone or to be with like-minded close friends, a desire to be around water, swimming pools, lakes. Extremes. Ringing in ears is probably the number 1 symptom people talk about. Random aches and pains. And there are a lot of people talk about this. And so the next part is, what can you do to help yourself? Well, here's the list for that. This is what you do to feel better. Rest as much as possible. Get out into nature and ground in nature. You may even want to use earthing equipment, you know, earthing equipment where you will plug it into the grounding socket in your house and put on a band or something. And it literally will drop the frequencies that you're getting from all the electrical stuff. Okay. Stay hydrated is huge. Eat good, healthy, natural foods. Take an Epsom salt bath. That is one of my favorites. Use salt lamps, which I have behind me here. Walk barefoot on the grass and use other grounding or earthing technologies as you can. Take deep, calming breaths. Pray / meditate. Listen to soothing music and healing frequencies. Forgive everybody. Love. Think wholesome, encouraging thoughts and spend time with others of like-mindedness. Smile often. That is some of the things we can do. Because when these frequencies are roaring like they have been, you are being given the raw material to create. So if you're thinking junk, you will create junk. If we're thinking negative stuff and fear and anxiety, we're going to create things we don't want. But if we intentionally set ourselves to create the new earth, this new era, to walk into a place of keeping our frequencies at love, not only do we experience superhuman abilities, but we influence and help others around us and the whole earth. So that's one of the things we do on my page.
That was beautiful. I'm a fan for life. That was
what?
I said I'm a fan for life.
Oh my, great. Wonderful.
That was
we also do a meditation. It's only 3 minutes long. It's called the Heart / Brain Coherence Meditation. And when we do this, all you do is you touch your heart, bring your focus here. You imagine you're breathing in and out through the heart area instead of through your nose and mouth. Then you think of something you're really grateful for, something that will move your emotions to think about it. And you hold this for 3 minutes is all. It shifts the brain and the heart, and it's proven scientifically through the Heart Brain Institute. It opens up and activates a lot of that junk DNA and what we call our superpowers. All of a sudden you have the big picture. You can see more. You have epiphanies. You can lower your blood pressure, your heart rate that way, ease anxiety, and it lasts for hours after you do it. And on my page, we do this. We get a group of us on a live chat. It is ecstatic. It is so, it's a euphoric feeling. You can feel the love flowing like a tangible current. And I'm not the only one. Everyone that speaks up talks about it. The people will be crying by the end of the 3 minutes. Some people will not know what to do. It's that real, and it's accessing.
You're connecting everyone. That's
yes, that one. Absolutely. Through love, gratitude. It's exciting. I love it.
I don't think you don't really consider how much working together in unison really lifts you up. Somebody described like a horse pulling a sleigh, like a bunch of horses, a team of horses, and one horse is lagging behind because it's tired or there's a problem, but the momentum keeps going, and so the tired horse keeps up. And they all just keep going and they're moving them forward ahead. And if somebody's lagging behind, they go with the power of the flow. And I like when you're talking about a collective group, all simultaneously for the same connection, you're pulling everybody up and they're pulling you up too when you're tired. So it's like it's you're feeding off of each other's energies. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like some walk in the room and they suck all the life out of the room. Like, I thought I felt bad, but I'm feeling good now. We really do help each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's similar to geese. You know, that when geese fly in that V formation, the ones with the most energy take that point, and then as they get tired, they move to the back, and then that they cut down just enough wind resistance so that the ones in the back can regain their strength. And so they constantly are, the ones that, as they get tired, they move to the back. the ones that regain their strength move up, but the whole formation is able to continue, flying for hundreds of miles a day because of that.
That is so cool. I hadn't heard that said like that. Wow. So it's like the front ones are trailblazers.
Yes. Yeah.
They're the wind where everybody else can follow. That's cool.
Yep.
We really do need each other. And when we realize that when we're loving each other, we're loving ourselves, and we can walk in that place, we will be absolutely unstoppable as the human race. And I really believe we're moving that way. And yet there's a separation occurring. People who are choosing dark are getting darker, it seems. And those who are choosing light are getting lighter exponentially. And it's creating a place where there's going to be choices made. And I think that's where timeline shifts are going to occur. And I know that's a crazy thought to a lot of people, but I didn't used to believe in timeline shifts or multiple realities in different timelines, but I'm getting where I really do now. I have watched after what they call a dark spike on the Schumann. It's actually, instead of bright, it's dark, either black or just darker. This is going to sound crazy, and people listening may think I'm a total nut, but that's okay. There's a road I drive on all the time. There's a house that looks a lot like mine that I always look at, whereas mine only has a porch around two sides. Theirs is all the way around. And I look at it as I go by and I think, maybe I'll do that to my house sometime. And there's a big church next to it, and then a small country road you connect to. And after one of these timelines, I drove down that road. The church and the location of the house was different. It used to be like a block down, and now it was sitting within 200 feet from the church. And I had been watching it for years. And I stopped and I went, wow, there is the Mandela effect right in front of me.
Glitch in the matrix.
Yeah. Timeline. We went evidently from one timeline to another one. And in the other one, it wasn't the same, is all I could think. I mean, the Mandela effect is an amazing thing. And the fact that we see evidence of it through the Schumann Resonance and the energies is kind of fascinating to me.
A lot of what you're talking about reminds me of what Dolores Cannon taught. Of course, she passed away, but Dolores Cannon always talked about, that there's going to be like the earth is going to like kind of split, not necessarily like physically, but where the earth would be in the, two earths, a new earth would be like that ascension, like that people that would vibrate higher, it would be like another dimension, or like a higher dimensional version of earth, kind of a renewed earth, but people that couldn't, raise their vibration, that were, stuck in, I guess, negative thoughts and, just
3D.
kind of really tied to this world, especially people that like want to go into like the metaverse and like kind of disconnect with their spiritual self and go more physical, deeper in the physical. Then it would be like two worlds, but like, even though they're like almost layered on top of each other, just like another dimension. She taught a lot about that. If you ever get a chance, it's a lot of what she taught is very similar to what you've been talking about.
Is that right? I have heard of her, and I tried to watch one video of hers, but it was only a section of it that I got to see. But that's very interesting.
Yeah, because she did, I guess she was a hypnotherapist, so she would do readings on people, and she was able to like tap into like their deep or subconscious, but below, like deeper than most hypnotherapists take people, and that's where she was able to connect with people like on their higher like self like level, and so that's where she got her information from. But yeah, it's fascinating because it's almost aligned up perfectly with what you've been talking about.
Really? That's interesting. Yep. Check her out some more. Yeah. That's very interesting.
a thought that we're all being given like the same information simultaneously. Like, have you
Yeah.
heard that?
Yes.
It keeps happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just the
It's like,
messages.
it is. It's exciting. It's like, I heard a guy who is a songwriter. He said he wrote the song, but he never got out in the public with it. And suddenly that song appeared. Maybe not the same words, but the same tune and everything was now being played on the radio. And someone said, well, someone stole that from you. And he said, no, I never played it publicly. I didn't share it with people. And he believes that things are being shared and revealed all over the earth at the same time. And I've seen that. I've taught things that was considered trailblazer stuff. And someone on the whole other side of the country or another continent would start saying the same stuff I was saying. So yes, there's a definite thread or a silver cord that's going throughout everything. And people who have receivers are we're hearing the same thing. Absolutely.
Notice that, Bob?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I think some people are changing, you know. I mean, honestly, 3 years ago, if I couldn't even imagine that, for one, I would move to another state, that I would be here doing videos on, you know, for YouTube and Facebook and stuff. I mean, I would have never, I would have been too afraid to probably do anything like that. But I guess sometimes the universe has a way of nudging you in a certain direction, you know, and what seems uncomfortable is maybe something you need to do to grow still and help other people too. So
Yes.
Would you say,
Yeah.
like, when the Schumann resonance is high, you could almost like catch that wave and
Yes.
and tap into
Yes.
creation and energy? How do we use
Yes.
it?
Absolutely.
How do we work with the Schumann resonance to elevate? What are we looking for?
Well, when you sense, well, if you're watching the Schumann resonance through my page or someone else's, and you see the spiking happening, you see the high frequencies and the high force happening, then you do some of those things we mentioned. You take deep breaths, you take the time to ground yourself, and you meditate and you visualize. You write things down during that time, because it's like you're being given incredible energetic fuel to carry out whatever it is you set your heart and your intention on. So that's how we can cooperate with it, as well as realizing if we will keep ourselves from becoming so frustrated, because it can be very frustrating to go through so much change and the madness, it seems, that's happening in our world. If we can hold ourselves on that surfboard, because we joke about that all the time on my page. I'll say, you guys surfing? You surfing the wave, the Schumann wave today? Are you surfing on the couch? How are you surfing? You know, and we have fun with it. We also have something called the Shumba, which is spelled like the Schumann. And it's that we dance. We dance in our hearts and we dance physically. Do the Shumba, because if you physically can move, it can help you. If you will put yourself to active intention, it will help you move through it. If you take deep breaths, if you refuse to give in to frustration or aggravation or go low frequency, you know, get angry at people, then intentionally take that incredible high frequency fuel and set it towards what your intentions are, and put in love, because love is really the highest frequency that we have in our world. You know, I hear people say from in other worlds there are other higher frequencies, but here love is the highest. So if we choose love in every situation we can, we're going to benefit from the Schumann frequencies, from the angelic intervention, from the frequencies being sent in to help us ascend, as long as we stay in a place of love, keep our hearts as positive and our thoughts as positive as possible. It will happen, and it is happening. But we can turbocharge our life if we intentionally use these spikes in the Schumann resonance. Absolutely.
I grew up in Huntington Beach, so I'm like, catch that wave.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, what's the difference between water and an energy wave? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
It's very similar. I do something like, I don't think I've seen anybody else who plays with the Schumann resonance like I do. I have found I can handle things spiritually and this kind of energy better if I go into the right side of my brain. You know, images, colors, fun things like a child. So I have Snoopy. I have all kinds of pictures I'll drop in of Snoopy, you know, the dog cartoon character, surfing or wiping out, or Charlie Brown and the whole group surfing. And I'll toss that in when I'm doing my post, and other fun things like the Schumann, the dancing. And I make up the most ridiculous words, which are completely right brain. And it's to help people not be so anxious, because we are in intense times in every way. Even the frequencies are intense and out the top of the charts. The things that go through the Schumann resonance are beyond the chart. They literally go over the top, cannot even be registered on the charts a lot of times. It's never happened until now. So to go into the playful, right brain, childlike attitude of fun helps everybody flow into this, because some things you just have to catch that wave. You can't think your way into it. You can't logically work into it. You have to come into it that way. So there's a lot of foolishness on my page. And I, like I said, I do a lot of my live chats in my pajamas and all kinds of stuff. And I have fun with it. And people just accept, you know, they either accept me or they go someplace else.
It sounds like a hoot.
It's a hoot. It really is. And there's a lot of love in our tribe, as we call it. We call it a tribe. Let me tell you one of the things kind of a phrase I coined that often I end what I'm talking about. And this is what it goes like. It's very simple. We're not going through all of this for nothing, because there is suffering. There are people who suffer with a lot of the symptoms. It gets overwhelming. They can sometimes hardly function. Doesn't happen a lot, but it can happen. So I say to them, we're not going through all of this for nothing. We're going someplace really good. 3, 4, 5D. We're in 3D now, third density, third dimension. Fourth dimension is, from what I understand, where what you imagine, what you visualize, manifest instantly. A lot of us are stepping into that place already. And 5D is basically like heaven, where there's no lack, there's no sickness, there's no disharmony, there's no greed or lust or anger or resentment or fear. And that's where we're going. That's what the millennium is, they call it, about, like Bob mentioned. That's the 1,000 years that was mentioned in prophecies. That is in all these different treasured belief systems. I believe that's where we're getting ready to go. I think that is the new era we're stepping into. And it's a little, the waves are crashing. The water's a little rough moving into it. So we're not going through all of this for nothing. We're going someplace really good, which is 5D.
That's amazing. You know, you mentioned something a little bit ago before we started recording, that there is a lot of thought that not only from the sun, but there might be like angelic or creator energy coming in. What's the thought behind that?
Well, this is it. The normal, let me show you. This is not going to be, you may want to clip this later with the true image, but I'm going to just pull this out and show it to you right now so that we'll have a visual for what I'm about to say. Hold on, it's taking forever to load. Okay, here we go. This is the Russian chart. Can you see this? It's a blue background. It's read from the left to the right. The most recent is on the right. 7.83 hertz is about a fifth of the way down the chart. That is the heartbeat of the earth. All those spikes, the white was never a part of this chart before. Nothing but a horizontal green line was what was on the chart. All these other colors, orange, red, purple sometimes. When you see purple, people say that is angelic ET intervention. Okay, so taking this and realizing that we're seeing energies that never existed coming in on the Schumann resonance. They cannot even tell us where they're coming from, Christy. Science cannot explain it. They cannot explain where, because normally the Schumann resonance is showing electricity coming off of lightning and sprites, which is a type of lightning, and lightning that comes off of volcanic activity and stuff like that. But we're seeing energy coming in that is off the charts that we can't even measure. And so they're having to admit it appears to be coming from off planet. It's coming from possible ET or angelic intervention. And I really believe this is a rescue mission. I think it's been enough. I think this has been a, quote, prison planet long enough.
I agree.
I think the creator, I think that the angelic hosts, I think the good, benevolent ETs are all working together to put energy into us and into our atmosphere and to possibly break open the shields that may be part of the imprisonment to stop us from receiving these high energy blasts. And when we receive this energy, we are being transformed. We're being changed. Some people say there's evidence of up to 12 strands of DNA. Bob, I don't know if you've probably heard that. And we only have 2 now, so we know there was at least 1 more. There's a lot of evidence to show that. So there was some sort of theft or deception that told us we were not who we are. It told us we were not one with our maker. They told us we were not made in the image of our maker, that we weren't capable, and that we were not loved. And we entered into a world of lack and binary light and dark and fear and all of this stuff. And it was a big lie. And it's like a rescue mission is going on. We're being given the energy to bust out of this. The veil is getting thinner and thinner, and we're going to see the truth. And they won't be able to keep us blind and deaf and dumb much longer. I really do believe that's what's happening. And it's very exciting. So, yes, we have angelic intervention. We can see when it happens on the charts. The purple, that's evidently what it is. When purple shows, it doesn't show often, but that was never one of the colors. It's not even supposed to be there.
Do you think that's part? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, do you think that's part of the reason? I'm gonna pick my words here, just to dance around, if you get what I'm saying. But do you think that's why the certain clouds are being put into the air, cloud formations, to perhaps try to block some of that incoming energy from reaching us?
Possibly.
I I'm sure you guys know what I'm trying to say there.
Yeah. Well, one of our space agencies has had been noticed that they tend to block out, pixelate in space. But why do they want us not to see it? That's a good question. And the other thing is, some people think they're trying to keep us from seeing something that is out there through all this cloudiness. And then other people think that there are benevolent people on Earth who think that they're protecting us from these energies that are now coming in on a level they never have before, because the shields are failing. They're collapsing. I watched this morning, if you all can, go look at the one this morning. I woke up at like 4:30 or 5 and went on and did a live at about 5 a.m. And on the magnetosphere cut planes model, it shows the model. You can see the shield, looks like a bow and arrow. And you can see stuff hitting it, coming in waves. And you can see the Earth, it's this little tiny circle in the center. It's half black and half white, day side and night side. We also are getting hit from behind on the dark side, which is not supposed to happen. There's not supposed to be anything back there. There aren't supposed to be any planets. That's why we only have a shield on the front. But things are coming and hitting our shields, and they are exploding outward, losing a clear definition. And when that happens, we end up with cracks in our shields. And I read an explanation. It's an electrical reaction of these frequencies. When that happens, it explodes outward. I call it a blooming effect. And then we end up all these cracks going on. And the one this morning was absolutely stunning. It looked like scrambled eggs after it was done. You couldn't see any form to anything. This is major changes in our shields. Energies are coming in that have never come in before. They can't stop it. And we're going to have to rise up. And we have the opportunity, I should say, we have the invitation to rise up in frequency to where we will flow with these waves and these energies and not be harmed by them at all. But in answer to your question, yeah, I think there's a lot going on there. I think there are many agendas, but they won't last for long because we're moving into a whole new place.
It really,
Marguerite, some that you mentioned about how the energies are coming from the other side of the Earth. There might be a theory out there that actually could lend something to that. There's a couple people I follow, and they talk about that we're actually in a binary star system.
Yeah.
And that black, you've heard the song Black Hole Sun. Well, that there's like a black sun, or a dark sun, and it's vibrates on a different wavelength, and that's why you can't see it with the naked eye.
Yeah.
But that NASA's been watching it come in, and they can only see it with certain wavelength cameras, with their telescope.
Correct.
And I wonder if that's what's coming into our system right now, perhaps bringing in different energies. Yes,
and in that binary thing you're talking about, it's like the sun has its partner. Everything there's two of everything, at least two. There is something called a brown dwarf star. And I actually saw a textbook, the pages, and I took pictures, screenshots of it on my phone. I have to go look for it if I did. But it actually was being taught in school, showing the ellipsis travel of this brown dwarf star and when it would be passing by the Earth again. And it has such a strong gravitational pull. Anytime it comes near us, we have earthquakes, floods. It throws the planet off. And they think that, well, we have to be careful. I don't know if we'll get booted. If we get booted for this, you just erase it. Nibiru, Planet X, the brown dwarf star that came close to the Earth for what is called Noah's flood, which was an in-between point. It wasn't even an actual polar shift. It was an in-between point in the cycle. Yes, I think that's what we're seeing. It's definitely hitting us from behind, and there's not supposed to be anything back there. This is a new era. Now, Bob, I saw a video and actually put it on my research page. I have a new page on Facebook I started. I don't remember what it's called. It's something crazy like crazy outlandish theories, themes, and ideas or whatever. That isn't correct, but I just toss all kinds of things on there that I'm watching that I want to record, remember, go back to, or watch later. And one of them talks about the golden age, and that during the golden age, that shield was not there. You know, the Bible talks about the firmament, that there was a firmament that surrounded our atmosphere, and that the morning stars sang together. Supposedly, scientists say it's possible it worked like a crystalline radio, that the music of the spheres, the vibrations, the hums, actually were amplified and came into the earth in the morning and the evening through the crystalline firmament. But this, oh no, hope I haven't lost my thought here. Oh, the golden age, they said, and there are pictures and images and historical references to this. They could stand outside and see planets that were massive in the daytime sky.
Wow.
The planets, the major ones, were lined up in a line, including our sun. They mentioned Saturn, Jupiter, Venus, and the sun behind it all. And then there was a shift that took place, and this goes into the whole thing. But the main thing was during this golden age, they said that the gods walked among us. So little g gods, and that are attached to these planets and attached to all this supernatural stuff and territorially throughout the earth. But you also could look into the sky and see these massive planets. And when that came apart, there was a cataclysm and a lot was lost. So we may be moving into something like that, but I've heard it said by more than one researcher that it will probably come to the place where we can see the silver confetti in the sky now. I saw the silver confetti on a cloudy day the other day. I looked up just to see, and the veil is getting so thin. We're able to see so much we couldn't before. The day may come that we actually can look into the sky and see the brown dwarf planet or planet X as it comes close to us. We're moving into really exciting times. It's a huge adventure, to say the least.
I keep saying we're all in this together. So
We are. We're on this boat together.
yes, we are.
Might as well love each other, take care of each other as much as we can.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
What a fascinating.
Well, we are, didn't we?
That's awesome. How would somebody reach out to find your page?
Well, they go on Facebook, and you have to actually put it in exactly as it is. Schumann Resonance Updates with Marguerite. The old page was Schumann Resonance Update with Marguerite. So Schumann is spelled Schumann. Resonance is Resonance. Updates with Marguerite, and my name is a bear to spell for most people. It's Marguerite. And so I'll send you some links and stuff and make it easier on people. But they have to literally try to find me, because sometimes I've been told you can put in the address and you can't get to me. Why would something like that happen? It's a mystery. Anyway.
It's so perplexing.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what does it mean?
Especially when you try to sell, share important information.
It's right. It's so true. But we're fighting each other. What's meant to happen, I'm convinced, is definitely happening. Just like we're connecting, and look at all we have in common. Thank you so much, Christy, for contacting me and inviting me. This has been a lot of fun. Really cool.
I agree. Thank you so much. Bob, do you want to say anything on the parting of the show?
Just wow, Marguerite. I mean, you've blown my mind, and I do think we're all on the same wavelength here, and I think we're all working together towards the same aim of waking up our fellow brothers and sisters. And it's not always easy. We've got to kind of overcome, I guess, the controllers of the platforms that we're working on and all that. But ultimately, it's such a movement. I don't think they can stop it. So just appreciate what you're doing. Like, super fascinating. I could talk to you for hours. So
Oh, totally.
Oh, likewise. Thank you all. We need to do this again, I think.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're going to end it here. Thank you so much, guys.
Have a good night.
Good night, everybody. Thank you all.
Marguerite.